Some important events take days, some even take years, but some only take a few hours. In some converted squash courts under the football stadium at the University of Chicago, a stack of graphite and uranium layers made history. On December 2nd, 1942, the Metallurgical Laboratory in Chicago created the first controlled artificial nuclear reaction, which proved the potential of nuclear power. The creation of the Chicago Pile 1 in 1942 relied on the leadership of Enrico Fermi and led to the creation of a nuclear bomb before hostile states. The use of the atomic bomb could not be controlled by the scientists despite their best efforts, but Enrico Fermi leaves a legacy of his work today with nuclear power and medicine. In 1938, German scientists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann discovered that the element uranium, when bombarded by a neutron, would split into two smaller atoms, a process called nuclear fission. After their work was published in a German scientific journal, it was discovered that this nuclear reaction released a large amount of energy, and scientists across Europe and America realized that this energy could be utilized to create destructive weapons, but they did not know how. Despite attempts to remain neutral in World War II, the United States government was attempting to develop a bomb to retaliate after the surprise bombing in Pearl Harbor in 1941 and the nuclear development occurring in Germany. The uranium in the mines Germany had seized in Czechoslovakia was no longer being sold and was being used for research. A letter signed by Albert Einstein to Franklin Roosevelt in August of 1939, and probably written by Leo Szilard, urged the president that research needed to be done to develop a weapon to counter any nuclear development in Germany. Another letter sent by Alexander Sachs, who was a friend of Roosevelt, had the Szilard-Einstein letter attached, and said that the Allied scientists should collaborate to study nuclear science, and that these universities should be funded. Under the code name of the Manhattan Project, a team of Allied scientists collaborated to create a nuclear weapon that would be used to defend in the event that the Germans created their own nuclear weapon. One of these scientists was Italian chemist Enrico Fermi. When Fermi went to Sweden to receive his Nobel Prize award, the Italian press criticized him how he wasn't dressed as a fascist, and that he did not do the fascist salute. He fled Italy with his Jewish wife when anti-Jewish laws were put into place, and after many calls to move to America and join the Manhattan Project. With the help of Enrico Fermi and the team that he led, on December 2nd, 1942, the first ever man-made nuclear chain reaction occurred. The project would take patience, dedication, and trial and error. It was an expensive project costing $1.5 million. The process was difficult, but Fermi, with his leadership and his team's perseverance, they succeeded. Enrico Fermi played a major role in the making of the Chicago Pile 1. Enrico Fermi was a very knowledgeable chemist who knew what he was doing. Walter Zinn, who was one of the scientists working on the Chicago Pile 1, recollects what Fermi did.
Fermi, of course, gave the instructions. He made the calculations, which were not really very elaborate, but had to be done correctly at the time.
Without Fermi, the success would not have occurred or happened. He was the main factor of success in the project, with his persistence, humility, and hard work.
It didn't make any difference whether it was mental work or physical work or just the worst kind of tedium. He always felt that he should do more than anybody else, any other single person.
That was Herb Anderson, a scientist who worked on the Chicago Pile 1 with Enrico Fermi. Walter Zinn talks about how the leaders involved in the project were very important to its success.
I wish I knew the secret of getting such an organization going, because I think it would be wonderful to do anything, build power reactors or even space flight and so on, if we really knew how to get it. But I don't think there was a formula for getting it. I think it was a matter of people, and you don't find Arthur Compton and Enrico Fermi in very many projects.
Under Fermi's leadership, a team of scientists created the Chicago Pile 1 nuclear reaction, in which they could start, stop, and utilize the nuclear reaction. The development relied upon the people involved and the leaders. The controlled nuclear reactor gave proof to the teams at other parts of the country that nuclear power was controllable, and allowed them to create a bomb, which they tested at the Trinity test site. J. Robert Oppenheimer speaks about the event.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent.
Leo Szilard, who worked on the Chicago Pile 1, did not want nuclear weapons to be used against the Japanese, but only wanted them to be used as a demonstration. In a petition he wrote to President Truman, signed by 68 scientists at the Met Lab, he says this:
"We, the undersigned scientists, have been working in the field of atomic power. Until recently, we have had to fear that the United States might be attacked by atomic bombs during this war, and that her only defense may lie in a counterattack by the same means. Today, with the defeat of Germany, this danger is averted, and we feel impelled to say what follows."
Unfortunately, the president did not receive this petition until the day after the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, after it was too late. Another bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. After the death of hundreds of thousands of innocent people, and many more, the nuclear bomb forced Japan to surrender. The end of World War II was violent, though many more might have died if the war had waged on much longer. With nuclear power came great consequences. It brought the US and other countries to spiral into a race to outbuild the other countries. This is known as the Arms War. The Chicago Pile 1 experiment of the first fission reactions have come a long way to today's innovation, like nuclear power plants. They work by heating water and turning it into steam. The steam turns turbines which provide energy. The way the water is heated is by fission of uranium. Nuclear power plants are a more environmentally friendly alternative to fossil fuels. They produce steam instead of smoke, and a relatively small amount of nuclear waste is to be disposed of. However, it can be very dangerous if something goes wrong within the plant. While nuclear energy can cause lifetime diseases, as well as generational deformities, radiation can also be used to cure illnesses. Nuclear medicine is a way of diagnosing and curing diseases by the use of a small amounts of radiation. Radiation is used for various body imagery scans. It is a good way to catch symptoms of an internal illness early on to be treated quickly. Patients are either given a pill, an injection, or an inhalation of small amounts of radiation that emit gamma rays that are detected by a machine that creates an image of the patient's body. Enrico Fermi's leadership was necessary to the creation of the Chicago Pile 1. His legacy should not be remembered as the nuclear bomb, but as progress. Although many died because of nuclear power, many have been saved, and many more are saved today through nuclear medicine. Nuclear power provides an alternative to fossil fuels. The contributions of the scientists at the Chicago Pile 1 was a contribution to science and the development of mankind, not the development of a bomb.